Hi everybody, welcome to Livewire Review. I'm Matthew and I'm here today with the Hyundai Ioniq 5 and the Hyundai Ioniq 6. I mean, clever naming, obviously, but they're both 23s. So let's see what sets them apart, what do they share, and which one would you prefer? Let's get into it.
Okay, we're going to talk about a couple of things that are different on these two cars. This one is a 3,000 millimeter wheelbase, and this one's a 2950 wheelbase. That is still based on the E-GMP platform, but all they do is they shrink it up a little bit, depending on what car they have to build. They are genuinely the same vehicle underneath, however, but you're going to find this one's a little taller, this one's a little shorter, and as Hyundai likes to call it, this one is the streamliner. This is the one that cuts through the air. It does have a very spacious interior inside, but you're going to find the headroom in the back is just a little bit lacking versus the Ioniq 5. These vehicles share a lot of things. They both have the same battery size. They are both 77.4 kilowatt hours usable, but the drag coefficient is very different between these cars. This one is a 0.28 drag coefficient, and this one is a 0.21. This car is going to go a lot further than this car. Like Matthew said before, it's like trying to drive plywood through the wind. Okay, so we're going to talk charging for a second. These are both Hyundai products. They are both really fast charging. Both of these cars have an 800 volt architecture. That doesn't mean a lot to most people, but it means you can charge 10 to 80% in 18 minutes as long as the batteries are warm enough when you get to the charger. It's only going to work on a 350 kilowatt charger, but when you're on a road trip, these things are going to get charged real fast.
So what really sets these two siblings apart? Well, obviously right off the hop, you've got the back end. And I mean, a lot of people talk about this new Ioniq 6 and the buzzword a lot of people are, oh, it looks like a Porsche. It has that like sleek European sports car look to it. I disagree, in so much as it's just a cool looking car that Hyundai built. They didn't try to copy anybody. They didn't try to look like anything else. They made a statement with this vehicle, and that really jumps out at you with those couple features back here. I love the spoiler with the cool pixelated squares that they've carried through the taillights, as well as this back. The Ioniq 6 badging as well almost creates a ghost image of itself, which is super cool. But of course, what is different between the 6 and the 5? Well, over here, you are a sedan, technically. You get the powered trunk lid, which is pretty sweet. And it's a really deep trunk. It's not super tall, but I mean, here, let's see here. I can get myself pretty much all the way in. So it's a super deep trunk. It's just not very tall. So you got to kind of, you know, make sure you think about what you're trying to put back here before you just show up at the store and buy it. But over here on the 5, we've got what we've talked about before. You got the more SUV style, but they carry a lot of the same features. The pixelated squares, the large name badging right dead center. This one also is a powered hatch, which is great. So what you're losing in height over there, you're clearly gaining over here. The same amount of depth, more height, more storage. You also have a much deeper storage underneath the floor than you do over there. So realistically, similar powertrains, same batteries, a lot of the shared components. What fits your lifestyle? A sedan with a little bit of a longer range, or an SUV style that might have more functionality for you and your family? You're going to have to come in and have a look at them.
Well, I'm back in the Ioniq 5. We've been here before, so we don't really need to talk about the latch anchors. And as you can see, I fit very well in here. There's about an inch of headroom. This sunroof changes the headline a little bit, so you can see there's a little less room than before. We have it set up for Matt's driving position. There's still room for my legs. The only other thing I have to mention when comparing these two cars is you're going to find that you can actually recline these back seats, and I believe they are sliding as well. We're going to see if those are in the Ioniq 6 or not, but this is a very, very nice feature. So I'm in the back of the Ioniq 6, and I am very surprised about a couple of things. This car has as much room as a luxury car in the back of it. Look at the room between my legs and the seats. And you can see they designed it so that people can fit in here really well. Nice flat floor, we got charging back here, we got air conditioning vents in the back, but there is one glaring problem. I am 6'1" tall and my head is pressed into the headliner. Unfortunately, I have this problem in a lot of cars. One of the first things I do when I go to buy a car is I get in the back seat, sitting behind myself. Even though I'll never be here, I want to make sure my passengers are comfortable. So this car would be comfortable on a long road trip, except for tall people in the back.
Inside the Ioniq 5 now, we've been in this car, we've talked about this car, but I think it was a good place to start today to then jump into the 6 and say, what's the same, What do we like here that we don't like there? What is identical and what is different? Because there are a couple of unique features over there that aren't here. Something I noticed today driving this vehicle, and I hadn't noticed it before. It was actually the first time I'd done it. But looking down here in front of myself, my driving position, I am constantly missing a part of this dashboard, no matter where I adjust this wheel. And I either put it all the way up and it's just like I'm up here driving, or I put my seat way far down and back and then I'm uncomfortable. I just couldn't quite find that perfect spot. So I don't know. I'm just a hair under 6 foot, and I can't find a place where I'm not. Right now, I'm missing my distance till empty. Right now, I'm missing my speed. If I do this, that's great, but now I don't know what gear I'm in or any of my bottom end stuff. So something to consider. It's the first time I noticed it. Again, you got to get in them and see them. As far as everything goes, everything else in here, Jeremy just pointed out a fun button to me. You want to talk about that one? That's actually a really cool feature I'd never noticed.
Yeah, my very smart wife pointed out that there is a warmer button, and this is where you find all the heated seats and the heated steering wheel and everything else that you want to turn on. By the way, I had a thought about your display over here. Did you notice that this one has a heads-up display in it?
I did. This has the augmented reality heads-up display because this is a Ultimate Super Edition Type R 9000, whatever the hell we call this thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually really like this heads up. It's there, but it doesn't take away from my field of vision, and it actually doesn't really attract my eye all that hard, which sounds odd, but I mean, at the very least, it's not distracting, which I like.
And it's not distorted on the glass like some other ones I've seen. It's actually really helpful.
Yeah. As far as everything else in here goes, I love the sliding console. I love this seat. Tons of headroom in here, especially because we got this giant piece of glass up here, so you gain a lot of headroom.
And as
the console
we know,
slides back,
but that's only in the Ultimate package, and this slides forward and back. Yeah. But it is handy because sometimes the armrest is not where you need it to be in some of the cars I drive.
And I mean, these seats and these seating positions, I think you said it best when you got in. What do you think of these?
Oh God, it's comfortable. I love being in this car.
It is very comfortable. I love when this seat reclines. You got the little extra bolster for your legs that kicks out. See, there you go.
Oh, road trips in this car.
All right,
so
here,
nice.
sure. Let's see if I can match now. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. All right.
Oh, and since it's the Ultimate, I believe this one has the nice bolster for your legs there.
It does. Oh, all right. When we wake up from our nap, we'll go jump in the Ioniq 6 and we'll talk about that.
Now remember, you only get 18-minute nap.
All right.
Okay, now we're in the Ioniq 6. There's a lot of things familiar in here. It's a little bit different due to the height, but you can see up front there's lots of room for my head. Okay, and I am seeing we got the same heater button here, but it is different than in that one. They've updated it.
Instead of calling it the warmer button, they actually just called it, you can see here, the temp button, and they showed the wheel and they showed the heated seat, just kind of give you that quick. And you know what? That's great, because I would have, maybe once I owned it, hit that warmer button, but for a while I looked at it and went, I'm not turning on a radiant heater to kill my battery. That was my gut reaction the first time I drove it anyway.
It's not the most obvious thing in the world.
No.
And I'm noticing we got the same thing on the doors here. There is no door handles, but it's got this really nice sweeping effect with these speakers up here. You'll notice that we have these wings up front. This is actually for another country where they will use side mirror cameras instead of side mirrors like in Canada and the US.
Yeah, we're too safety conscious over here for cool stuff. So we get extra plastic.
Personally, I prefer mirrors. I grew up with mirrors. I can back up with mirrors. I want to keep these.
Yeah, as far as what I'm seeing up here, like the dual screen setup, obviously the software, the images, everything, it's just the same. I mean, the little car in the middle is clearly a 6 instead of a 5. That's awesome. But I mean, it's the exact same as far as layout and probably everything else, I'd imagine.
But the dashboard isn't as long in this one. And I noticed the screens are flat side by side here. I can see the speedometer in this. We'll see what it's like when you sit in this.
Yeah, I'll be curious to sit on that side now. But yeah, you're right. You don't get the same depth. And I mean, this Ioniq 6 that came in is a preferred trim versus the Ultimate that we were sitting in over there. So like, you don't get a couple of things. You don't have the heads-up display over here. That might
not in this model.
It might be available in the higher trims, but we don't have it here. But I don't think that's going to change the space. You're right. It's the depth, right, that you're losing over here. But that depth, just to talk about it, I'm sitting here in the passenger seat. I slid all the way back so that I'm in this frame, and I can't touch. I can't touch.
Oh yeah, my feet stretch right out behind the pedals. I mean, oh my God, on a road trip, this would be so nice.
There's still a ton of room behind this seat, and I'm all the way back. I'm baffled by the amount of room in here. One interesting thing that a lot of drivers will notice, and I did right away when I got in, is you're losing any controls on your door. There are no power lock buttons. There are no power window buttons, seat heaters. They've all moved it down here. It's all down in the console, centralized. And my gut feeling right away is, oh no, my window, there we go. My gut feeling right away is that's just to, it's a global architecture platform. So by putting everything in the middle, you don't have to re-engineer the door skins. It's all one piece. It's all one machine. You can just keep building them. All you got to do is come up with a new dashboard and flip everything over to this side for a right-hand drive, or you can just market it in any country. It's simple. Like I said outside, Jeep drivers will be used to this. A couple of European brand guys will be used to this. It'll take me a minute to remember to go to the middle and get my windows open, but livability things that will grow on me.
That, and I found the newer Hyundai products, they move the cruise control from this side over to this side over here. It's just something to get used to. Muscle memory will build up over time, just like these window switches. People come from Jeeps or Broncos, not likely, but those customers will be familiar with this setup.
You're losing. This is another big difference you lose from over there to over here. You don't have the sliding console. You don't have all that floor space, but you've got this gargantuan bucket down here to store stuff. Like I would be tempted to say that would fit a 12-pack. I'm going to go with a 12-pack of your favorite beer in cans would fit down there, just to kind of give you a size comparison that everybody's familiar with.
Honestly, for the women watching, a full-size purse will fit in here really nice.
Oh, yeah, for sure it will. Absolutely. Yeah, but I mean, you're right. I do like how they carry this like almost ruffled architecture through the dashboard. It's not soft touch materials. It's a lot of hard materials in here, but that's okay. They do it very well. Same as in the headliner. And you were actually telling me, interesting fact, a ton of recycled materials in this car.
You're going to find recycled materials in the paint on certain parts of the trim. I believe the carpet, they said, is made out of old fishing nets. You're going to find recycled materials in these cloth seats. And in some of the paint on the car is also recycled materials.
Yeah, so really cool moves on Hyundai's part. And I mean, it's going to be familiar. I think that's going to be interesting to people. Whether you're in the 5, whether you're in the original Ioniq, whether you're in this one, and even compared to the original Ioniq, there are certain design architectures that are going to be common right through this family. So whether you're driving one forever or you're kind of bouncing along as your life grows, you need a growing vehicle with your growing family, you're going to get familiar things in each model. And I kind of feel that vibe from Hyundai. It's like, let's make it great and let's make it simple. People are going to love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the fit and finish in here is just top notch. I haven't seen a product built like this in a while. It's just everything fits. There's no squeaks or rattles when you drive this car. Double pane windows on both sides, just like the Ioniq 5. This thing is like driving on a cloud. It really is.
All right, guys, we've come to the end of this one. This was just a quick dive. We will definitely be getting another Ioniq 6 at some point. We will be going for a drive, talking about it a little bit more. But for today, what did we have? We had a little bit of time with it. We wanted to show it, next to its sibling, talk about what's new, what's cool, what's different, and ultimately just to get you guys in here to look at it for yourself. Anything to add?
No, I think I'm pretty good. In the end, I think I would choose the Ioniq 5.
I think I'd still go 5. Yeah, just the size, more storage, it's a little bit bigger. And I mean, as far as the technology goes, the charging, the motors, the power, everything else, it's the same, literally. I don't see a need to jump into the sedan for my purposes, for my family. So yeah, I think I'd go 5 too. It's a cool car. I'm definitely looking forward to spending more time with it, but I'd still pick 5.
However, if you need the most range, I believe, just an estimate on my part, you're probably going to go about 80 kilometers further in this car. So if you got a lot of space between your chargers where you live, this might be a better choice. But if you need to fit some stuff in the car, this is the one I'd go for.
Yeah, I think that's good for today, guys. Go below. Let us know what you think. Obviously, leave a comment, follow us. Let us know what you'd like us to see or like to see us do next time. And always come back to the channel and see what we're going to do next. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.